Whoa, 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 whoa. It's so early. I'm still organizing stuff, but I think I'm looking pretty juicy. I think I'm looking quite the juice. Okay. I'm gonna make the sound quieter for me. Okay. Welcome to class. Welcome to class. This is class. I am your professor, Mr. Teccijuhua. Yes, baby, I got a new model. I'm just testing this out, so things are getting a little things might be more scuffed than usual. But yeah, I'm trying out this model right here. Pretty cool. I got this ready earlier than expected too, because I was planning on showing this off next month, but it came out now. Thank you. There's more movement. There's definitely more movement in this one than the other one. It's a different design too. I guess I can show off a little bit more before we go into it. Yeah, there's more to it. How the heck do I show the feet? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. There you go. Boom, little socks. Thank you. Yes, this one has a lot more movement, so I like this one so far. I like this one better. The other one was my first time rigging something, so it wasn't as good, and I was still learning how to figure stuff out. But now we got this bad boy to rock and roll, and my early morning just woke up voice. I'm trying to figure, what am I trying to do? Okay, here we go. Thank you for coming in. I see you commenting on places. So I want to say thank you for commenting on everything. And the support, I really like it. But anyway, this one I had help. This one I had help with. The first one I did it on my own. This one I didn't have too much time, so I needed to ask for some backup on it. But it was pretty good. I'm still learning how to do it. I'm still learning how to rig things better. And I want to get like really good at the whole like perspective stuff, on turning left, right, up, down, all the fun jazz. Okay. But I might have a thank you. Yeah, I'll give credit to whoever helped me too. But I mean, I just got this ready, and I just wanted to try this out like 5 minutes before it started. 5 minutes before this stream was gonna start. So I want to have a dedicated one later. Dedicated new model stream. I just like the side movement, because the other one I couldn't figure out how to get this like Z axis sideways jiggle movement. But now it's all good. Alright. But whatever. We have 125 pages of screenplay to get to. Now, this isn't like my normal streams, and so people who might be used to like VTuber streaming stuff might not be interested in this, but it's okay because this is something that I'm interested in, and I'm going to get through this. I gotta get through this. This is my goal. We gotta finish this in like 2 hours, read this whole screenplay, and make our annotations and talk about it. Where's the... Here we go. Here's the edit tool. Pencil. I have my little tablet ready. Okay. Let's get up there. Alright, we're gonna be learning. So the screenplay is gonna be like a college course, baby. We're gonna do this, alright? So we're gonna be doing screenplay right here. We got Little Women. Oh my god. It's written by Greta Gerwig, based on the novel by Louisa May Ascott. Yo, thank you for coming in and for tuning in. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So this script was written, or this movie was written and released in 2019. The script, I'm not too sure when the script was written out, but when this movie came out, it was one of my favorite movies of that year. It's a great little movie that I have, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. I really like the screenplay. I've read the script already. I've already read it, and I cried in the movie and I cried in the script. So we're gonna be getting in this. Maybe I'll cry again, but I haven't read this script in a while, and so I might not be remembering too much of it. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see what kind of notes, because I want to talk about things like character, right? Their motivations, like beats, story beats, what's going on in it. It's kind of like stuff that I know. So each script has something different, and there's like a formal way of writing screenplays for Hollywood and for movies. This formal way does not need to apply though. It's only for if you're like an industry staff writer. I think that it's more important to stick to whatever format the studio has. So when you're doing scripts for a movie, you want to have everything, because a script isn't something that a viewer or the audience is reading directly. It's a blueprint, and it's sort of treated like that. And, so the way scripts are written is to keep things standard, to keep things ready so that the production crews can... I'm just playing around with this brush right now. So that the production crews can easily look at it and figure out what they gotta do. But if you know that you're directing the script, kind of like Greta Gerwig is doing, you can have your own style. And a lot of writers do have their own style, so it's not super, like, you still have a lot of creative freedom while writing screenplays. It's not like super businessy, unless you are, I guess, the very big staff writer. Anyway, so we're gonna start with this note. I really like this style of writing that she does in this script. I thought it was very creative. So where there's a simultaneous or quick dialogue in the script, there's a slash in the middle, so you'll see it pretty soon in the script. It kind of just indicates that actors will be talking over each other, kind of like in real life. So it's a bit of a Greta Gerwig style of writing. And then since the story, if you've seen the movie, you see that there's like jumping between timelines, between the past and the future, and it's a bit strange to talk about, or it's a bit strange to write about in screenplay format, like on paper. So then what Greta Gerwig does is she just changes the text color to red for anything that's in the past. Present timeline is in black, and then both timelines move forward in the original point. Okay, we're gonna move on, and I'll be talking about this again. Like I said, I read the script already multiple times, and we'll see how well I get. Interior. Oh, and also since it's morning voice, maybe my reading voice would sound nice, especially if I try to go lower. If I just go a little lower, sit on my vocal cords a little more. Interior, New York Publishing Office, 1868. Jo Mach, our heroine, hesitates in the half-light of a dim hallway. She exhales and prepares her head bowed like a boxer about to go into the ring. She puts her hand on the doorknob, a pause, and then she opens it into a disorderly room. It is full of men. Some sit with their feet up on their desks, higher than their hats, which they do not remove for her. They smoke and read, hardly noticing that she has walked in. Jo walks through the desks, looking for one in particular. Excuse me. Mr. Dashwood, the oldest, smokiest gentleman, looks at her. I was looking for the weekly volcano office. I wish to see Mr. Dashwood. Mr. Dashwood stares silently. A friend of mine desired me to offer a story by her. She wrote it. She'd be glad to write more if this suits. She stands and extends this rough, large hand. He stands and extends his rough, large hand. She gives him the manuscript. Mr. Dashwood. Not a first attempt, I take it. No, sir. She has sold to the Olympic, the Scandal, and got a prize for a table in the Blarney Stone banner. A prize? Yes. She now takes in Jo's appearance and her mended clothes. I like all these descriptions of clothes and stuff. I'll go back and make a note on that. Mr. Dashwood says, sit. Jo sits, hands folded, trying to cover the ink stains. Mr. Dashwood reads her story with a pen in hand, gleefully crossing out and making notes, changes. Every time his pen scratches, Jo feels her heart breaking. She's on the verge of tears when, we'll take this. You will? With alterations, it's too long. Shh. She nods and he hands it back to her, page after page with her work crossed out. She examines it. You've cut. I took care to have a few of my sinners repent. The country just went through a war. People want to be amused, not preached at. Morals don't sell nowadays. Perhaps mention that to your friend. Jo looks again at her completely altered story. What compensation? We pay 25 to 30 for things of this sort. We'll pay 20 for that. You can have it. Make the edits. Jo hands over this story. Mr. Dashwood hands over the money. Business done. Should I tell my friend that you'll take another if she has one better than this? We'll look at it. Tell her to make it short and spicy, and if the main character's a girl, make sure she's married by the end. Or dead. Either way. Excuse me? But he's on to the next bit of business. What name would she like to put to the story? Ah, yes. None at all, if you please. Just as she likes, of course. Good morning, sir. Good day. I like this scene. I'm gonna go back a little bit just to see. How do I close that? It's gonna go back a little bit. See what's up. I like a lot of the characterizations we have. Hold on, let me just mess with stuff for a second. Let me just... I want to change things up. This is scuffed, but it's okay. There we go. I'm gonna move on this side. I think that's better. I could even be a little bigger. There we go. Alright. Alright, here we go. So some stuff. Let's see. We don't get too much characterization of Jo. in here too much. We see a little bit. I like the mended clothes that she has, but I think the biggest part is the oldest, smokiest gentleman, Mr. Dashwood, and also a lot of the characterization can be seen within the dialogue and the parentheticals that they have on how they act. But because I think a lot of screenwriters, especially newer screenwriters, they'll always do like Mr. Dashwood, comma 50-year-old like white male, with like a big belly and whatever. But that's not, because I think that's just really restricting to the character on who's gonna play this character, unless you know it really matters, this image of the character being like this pot-bellied, smoky gentleman guy. But a lot of, I think, what's stronger writing in screenplays and characterization is that you characterize them based on either like an aspect of their personality, how they behave, or what they'd like to do. That way, you know, Mr. Dashwood doesn't have to be classic like white male, pot belly, blah 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 blah. You know, the oldest, smokiest gentleman. It puts an image in your head that might be stronger than just describing the physical aspects of it. The oldest, smokiest gentleman in a room full of newspaper writer people. It kind of gives you a look. You know, you kind of get a more better design. And also with Joe, you know, like especially with women, I think in screenplays there's a lot of stuff about like, oh, they're like beautiful, you know, oh, tall, fair hair, blonde hair, whatever, you know. And it's like, yo, chill, you know, that doesn't really tell me anything about her. And we're gonna get more characterization in Joe later, but for now, I think the only thing we have is mended clothes, which already says a lot based on what she's writing, but what she's talking about too, right? She's already coming in with, oh, like my friend wrote this story, and I'm fighting for like money over art. I have to do this. I have to do this, whatever. So you could tell that she's not as financially stable. You could tell she's more independent on how she's doing all this business and stuff, especially in 1868. Like, damn, back in that time, Joe's already very, very independent, very, very strong person. But anyway, we'll get more to Joe. And I don't think, I'm just gonna talk about this I'm gonna talk like this for the first section, but once we get deeper in, a lot of this stuff might be the same, so I'm just gonna keep going, because I mean, I could be talking about this for hours, but we're going in. We gotta get this done. I wanna read this whole thing. Exterior, New York. Also, this is part of formatting. I'm like, I gotta keep going, but I keep getting, like, we already know. Oh, wait, what was the last slug line? Interior, New York. Okay, never mind. But I still think that this is the style with the periods. Oh my god, I jumped so far down. This is the style with the periods. Typically, the way it's done or the way it's taught would be dashes, but I think we don't need that. New York City, day, continuous, something like that. And there's a few times where some of the slug lines might be a little bit too wordy for me, for my taste. But I mean, this is a very successful movie. So what am I? I'm just a snail. The streets of New York after the Civil War and at the brink of the Industrial Revolution. It is a city in the middle of becoming the 20th century. On the horizon, horses, trolleys, young, old, black, white, immigrants, returning soldiers, factory workers, wealthy industrialists, fashionable women, and poor mothers all crowd the streets. We find Jo also becoming, sprinting down the street with utter joy. She has pulled up her skirts and is running full steam, not lady running, flat out running for the joy of it. Little Women. Interior exterior boarding house, NYC, day 1868. Jo reading and walking at the same time, bound two at a time. up the steps of a large brownstone boarding house. She stoops to pick up a cat who suns herself on the steps. Joe. My Beth would like you very much. As Joe walks through the house into the drawing room, she lets the cat down and goes straight to the fireplace. She stands with her back to it to warm herself. Not just a snail, a god snail. Thank you. Yes, I am a god snail. I have been observing people from the moon for a long time. Thank you for reminding me. I've been humbling myself when I shouldn't be. She stands with her back to it to warm herself and produces a small notebook and begins to write. She is so engrossed with her writing that she doesn't hear the boisterous group of college students and professors, men and a few women, when they descend upon the room. She just keeps writing until Friedrich. Good afternoon, Miss Mach. He has a French accent. I can't do a French accent, so I'm not gonna try. Joe looks up from her notebook to see Friedrich Baer looking down at her. She speaks with a French accent and, like all Europeans, seems to know something that we Americans don't. This is so like Gerwig personality writing, which I really like. You know, you don't really need to add something like this, but it gives so much, and it makes for a fun read when you're reading. Good morning, Professor. Good afternoon, Professor. You're on fire. Thank you. You're on fire. Joe suddenly notices that the back of her dress has caught on fire. In a panic, another woman of the group helps her and the dress is put out. Disaster is avoided, although not humiliation. I have the same habit, you see. He shows her scorch marks on his jacket. Joe is about to laugh when Mrs. Kirk, the landlady, bustles into the room. Kitty and Minnie are waiting. Joe looks up the stairs to see the two little girls prancing. My students need me, always working. Money is the end and aim of my mercenary existence. No one gets ink stains like yours just out of a desire for money. Joe feels the intense pleasure and pain of being seen by someone, of knowing that they know you. Ooh! This line goes a little bit into who Joe is, so maybe I could talk a little bit about it. We'll see. Well, my sister Amy is in Paris, and until she marries someone obscenely wealthy, it's up to me to keep the family afloat. Goodbye. Alright, I guess we'll talk a little bit. So, every character in stories and things, they all have two things, right? They have their wants and their needs, right? It's something that's been taught over and over again in storytelling. This part here really gives a tie into their needs. What the wants and the needs are is sort of like the physical versus the psychological, right? Like Joe, like we kind of see a little bit of her. Joe wants to be a writer. She wants money to be a writer. She wants to get paid. But then what she really needs is to be seen by someone. And we learn that more throughout the story. And there's like the big famous crazy line in the end where she kind of admits it and learns about it. But the big difference is the character knows what they want pretty much at the beginning of the story. But the character doesn't know what they need. They need to learn that, and that's why they're going through this story. You know, the character starts off with like level 1, level 1 crook, and in order to become the level 100 mafia boss, they have to go through and learn about what they actually need, and what they need isn't necessarily what they want. Anyway, we're going into France. Alright, so this was all New York stuff. Now we're going to France. Amy March, an angelic 20-year-old with golden curls, is painting a staged scene, along with a few other young artists. It is a classic scene of two young men and a young woman at a picnic, and Amy is rendering it realistically, imitating the 18th and 19th century painters she loved. She looks at the painting of the young man next to her He is doing something radically different. The paint is obvious, the colors are bright and unlifelike. Space is flattened. It is not meant to be realistic. It is the beginning of modernism. She looks back at her own piece and realizes that she might have missed the moment that she came here to master. So this gives a little bit of the time in the history. So art right now is going more towards this modernistic, not so much abstract yet, because abstract comes in with the invention of photography, but we're straying from realism. Times are changing, but Amy is still stuck in the old ways. She likes the realistic paintings, and with this we're sort of we're given more about Amy up front about what she wants. So she's a painter, and she wants success in painting, but we don't know too much other than that. And she likes the older styles of painting. Perhaps she's already passed before her time. She continues working, troubled. So we're in Paris. Amy rides in an open-air carriage with Aunt March, reading a letter from home. Everyone in Paris is out. Aunt March is only happy when she's complaining, and she's in excellent form this morning. It is the place to see and be seen, and Amy March is doing both excellently. The decadents have ruined Paris. If you ask me, these French women couldn't lift a hairbrush. Amy, I said these French women couldn't lift a hairbrush. Oh yes, very true, Aunt March. Don't humor me, girl. What do they write to your troublemaking family? Shh. Mother doesn't say anything about Beth. I feel I should go back, but they all say stay. You can do nothing if you go back. The girl is sick, not lonely. Amy gives her a hard look. And you shouldn't go home until you and Fred Vaughn are properly engaged. Amy blushes and puts the letter away. Yes, and until I've completed all of my painting lessons, of course. Aunt March looks at her confused. What? Yes, yeah, of course. Amy looks at all the passerbys. She sees a somber young man, tall and dark, looking down as he walks. Suddenly, stop the carriage! Laurie! Abandoning her primness, she launches out of the carriage and runs, nearly knocking people over. This is Theodore Laurie, a 26-year-old without a sense of direction, like most 26-year-olds. They hug joyously and unself-consciously. Amy, you're so grown up, you wrote you'd come to the hotel. I don't know how I'm gonna do this by myself. I'm not a ventriloquist. But if I had a second actor with me, that would be cool. We can play around with the dialogue. Amy, so then right here at this point, they'll be saying this at the same time. So that's what the slash means, and dual dialogue. Amy, you wrote you'd come to the hotel growing up. I looked for you and couldn't find you anywhere. You didn't look hard enough. Maybe I just didn't recognize you. You've become so beautiful. Please don't. I thought you liked that sort of thing. No. Where's your grandfather? Oh my god, I'm straight dying here. Still in Germany. We're on page 10. Oh my god, I gotta go faster. Still in Germany. I'm on my own, traveling and having fun. And drinking and gambling and flirting. Don't tell your mother. Are you chasing some young girl across Europe? No. I couldn't believe Joe turned you down. I'm so sorry. Don't be, Amy. I'm not. Amy March, you come back here right this instant. I don't know why she's country now. Oh, Aunt March. Laurie gallops over, jumps into the carriage. Aren't we fine, ma'am? Get him off me. He kisses her again, grinning. Il faut go, allons-y. Aunt March attempts to get the carriage to leave, and Laurie is thrown off while Amy is thrown in. Come to the New Year's party. It's a ball and everyone will be there, including Fred. Pick me up at the hotel at 8. The Chavain. Dress for festivities. Top hats and silks. I will wear my best silk. Laurie turns and continues his heartbroken stroll as Amy looks at him. She turns back to Aunt March. It's Laurie. I know. Amy turns around and gets one last look at Laurie. She loves him. as she's always loved him. So now we're being introduced to more and more of the characters. So first we have Joe. We kind of have Fred in the background, but he's not really a main character. We met Amy, who is sort of like the next biggest character, and then we have Lori. So these are kind of like our main top 3, and we're sort of getting a bit of history with them. We're learning more and more through the dialogue, which is good. And also a lot of the dialogue isn't just, you know, flat out saying like, Amy, oh my gosh, dude, blah 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 blah, and Amy's not going like, Lori, it's been so long since I last like everything or something. I don't know. It's a little bit like that in the beginning for some exposition, but it's done in a more natural way than I guess some newer writers might be writing. Alright. Now we're gonna meet the last 2 sisters in the scene. So now we're back in the tailor shop in the afternoon. This is back in the United States. Meg March, beautiful, but with the melancholy of yearning emanating from her, is browsing the silks with Sally Moffat, a rich young woman who possesses an air of casual boredom that comes from never having to work for what you have. 20 yards of the blue silk as well as the pink. Someone will be by for it later. She looks over at Meg, who touches a beautiful gray silk. Oh, Meg, that would look so lovely on you. I know just the dressmaker to send you to. You'll be the prettiest wife in Concord. Oh no, John needs a new coat for winter, and Daisy and Demi need new clothes, and his wife needs a new dress. I can't. I just can't. He'll be so pleased with how much you look. He'll be so pleased with how you look that he'll forget all about the expense. I don't suppose it's such an extravagance. Will 20 yards do? Yes, thank you. And Meg watches, delighted but fighting guilt as the beautiful fabric is cut. Meg March's house, day 1868. From inside a modest rural college, Meg emerges, wiping her hands and muttering to herself, $50. What was I thinking? She sees her 2 3-year-olds, a boy and a girl, Daisy and Demi, playing in the yard. She sits down to watch them, feeling both grateful and trapped. They run up to her. Mommy, Mommy. They fall into her arms. She accepts them and sends, also, is the music too loud? I never thought to check. Maybe I should, I'll keep it down just a little bit. Actually, I'll move it down like this. Alright. Mommy, Mommy. They fall into her arms. She accepts them and then sends them off to play again. We hear sounds of a beautiful Bach piano sonata being played. March House, 1868. So here, I mean, I can see why it's done because there's exterior and interior, but probably just like March House continuous or something, because it gets a little bit confusing as to like where they are, but I think it's fine. The music grows louder as we see empty rooms of the childhood home, the attic, the dining room, the stairs. Finally, we find Beth March alone at the patio. She stops playing suddenly, as if in pain. Then she takes a deep breath, feels the sunlight in her hand and stretches it out. Beth. Off screen. So, character breakdowns. Just again, we have... Who is it? Joe. We got Joe. So we have the 4 sisters of the 4 little women. Right, we have Joe. We have Amy. We have Meg. I think Meg's the oldest. And then we have, I think it goes Meg, Joe, then Amy, and then Beth. That's the age range. And then we have Beth. So we have Joe, Meg, we have Meg, Joe, Amy, Beth. These are the 4 sisters. And then who? Marmee? Marmee is the mom, but they call her Marmee for some reason. I do not know. Those are the characters. And then we have Lori, which is sort of like the family friend, and also the love interest for Joe and Amy. So we have a bit of a love triangle going on here. So back to New York, the theater. Shakespeare's Twelfth Night unfolds on stage. Jo is in the back, the cheap standing room. She's so wrapped up that she moves in until she's practically leaning over the railing. It's the scene where Viola, dressed as a man, seduces Olivia. What do you think? You are not what you are. Why am I talking like this? Then think you are right. Think you right. I am not what I am. Oh, dude, if we gotta read Shakespeare, I'm not good. Friedrich watches the play from his own proper seat. At a certain point, he sees Jo, and then watches her watching the play. Her delight makes him smile. New York Theater lobby. Like right here, boom, we don't need this. You could just do lobby, night, or like continuous. That's it, like boom. And it's already known because it's like the same setting. It's just a little bit later. Maybe like moments later. Or like, not moments later, but later. You can just put later right here. The audience flows out of the theater into the lobby. Jo, still in her theatrical reverie, spots Friedrich. She freezes, not moving, not wanting to be seen. She then follows behind the band of friends, drawn to them in spite of herself. So we're seeing she's avoidant of Friedrich. She does not, I don't know. There's something about her where her character, she's too scared to build connections, to build loving relationships. The German beer hall night. It is a rowdy and ruckus crowd, drinking and dancing. Jo walks through the crowd, taking it in, watching Friedrich. He knows everyone and can speak half a dozen languages. Another man, I think it's supposed to be switched, another young man, speaking a language Jo doesn't know, offers his hand for the dance. I'm sorry, I only speak English. Come dance. He pulls her into the dance, and she does her best to follow along. It's whirling and loud and wild. Before long, she finds herself paired with Friedrich, and all self-consciousness leaves her. She is part of the night, and the room, and the music, and she throws herself into the movement, and we are taken back to the past. Alright, so now we're seeing the red text. So now I think, from my memory, that's the story takes place, like, majority in the past. No? That's my memory. It takes place mainly here in the red. But we'll see. Interior Concord March House, Jo and Meg's room. 1861, so we were just at 1868, now we're at 1861. The sisters, all together again in the past, in the snow globe of girlhood and memory that is ever present but forever gone, are in a flurry of getting ready for a holiday party. Oh, I like this English, I like this line, dude. The line is so poetic. Also, the reason why I like Little Women so much is because of the dialogue. Like, Greta Gerwig has really good dialogue. We saw a good amount of it in Lady Bird, which I think came out in 2016, and that's sort of like I think that's what made Saoirse Ronan, I forgot how to spell it, Saoirse Ronan, famous, or put on the map, at least in the US. I know that she's done like Brooklyn and a few other movies that were also very popular. But Lady Bird, at least that was my introduction to her and Greta Gerwig. And we can see a lot of the prowess in acting and in writing. So I can't wait till we get to the good dialogue scenes that I like. So, but other than dialogue, this action line, dude, oh, this is like poetry. This is like novelistic writing. It's so good. I love it. But not a lot of people get to see it in the snow globe of girlhood and memory that is ever present but forever gone. I know just who I'll dance with. Who will you dance with, Jo? You know, I never dance. I can't dance. Why can't we all go to the party? It's not fair. Alright, so we have Meg and Joe who's going to a party, to a ball, I guess. Meg's hair is covered in papers, and Joe manipulates a pair of hot tongs. Meg struggles to get on a pair of slippers. Just wear your regular shoes. These fit last winter. Amy put on jewels and rouge and tries to shape her nose. My nose will simply not look refined. Beth to no one. I like your nose. Now, Joe. Don't touch me, thanks. I already feel ridiculous. I don't want to look at it. I need some kind of voice changer so that it can so that it can be better. Because I feel like if you're listening and not looking at it, you have no idea who's talking. I gotta do accents or something. You could be pretty if you tried. I don't want to. I won't do it. I don't want to go, but I wish I could hear all the music. Thank you for being here anyway. I think it's very, very cool that you're staying in. Is this a good time for you too? I saw some of your comments saying that like, oh dude, like the time zones and everything. So I don't really stream during the morning in my time zone. I normally stream at night, and that's where I normally do games and stuff. This is just the morning time, so I think this is less stressful or less demanding as a morning task to just read and talk about scripts, movie scripts. Oh man, oh it's getting hot. I gotta take off my jacket. But I could do some more morning stuff too. I want to diversify my my streaming times. I got a brain fart. Cause I think also living in PST, I'm sort of like the last time zone to go to bed too. So if I'm streaming at night, it's already like morning in Asia, and in other places it's just the dead of night. I'll keep it all in my head and try to sing it for you when I get home. Joe goes back to work on Meg's hair. Beth watches Joe handle the tongs, amazed and slightly worried. Ought they to smoke like that? It's the dampness drying. What a queer smell, it's like burnt feathers. There, now you'll see a perfect little ringlet. Joe removes the tongs, and a burnt clump of hair follows. Joe screams, and Meg screams because Joe screams. Amy laughs, delighted. You're ruined. Why is her hair off? Meg, I'm so sorry. What have you done? Marmy, I'm spoiled. I can't go. My hair. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have asked me to do it. I ruined everything. It's just chaos. I think a part of this writing too is a really good showcase of just like 4 characters, boom, 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 like just talking over each other, fighting, which I'm not doing justice. Interior, Gardener's New Year's party, hallway, night, 1861. Meg and Joe walk down the hallway at the Gardener's very fancy party. The party already in full swing. Meg is chastising Joe. Don't stare. Don't put your hands behind your back. Don't say Christopher Columbus. Don't say Capitol. Don't shake hands. Don't whistle. Meg is immediately pulled away. Meg March, you look so pretty. Sally Moffat. At the moment, Sally Gardner pulls Meg away from Joe, who is left standing awkwardly. Meg seems to put on another face and attitude, more grown up and elegant. Joe fades away into the back of the party. Interior, Gardener's New Year's party, Concord, night, 1861. Joe, 16. So this is the same party. I don't know why I read that whole slug line. I think it just makes it more confusing. So Joe, 16, miserable, glumly watches the dancer. She pulls a string on her dress. She catches Meg's eyes. 17, laughing with her dance partner, and pleads with her to leave. Meg aggressively shakes her head, and Joe sighed, resigned. A very large, red-headed boy makes a beeline for Joe. In her terror, she looks for an escape. Gotta run from those redheads, you know what I mean? She slips behind the curtain. walking backwards. She nearly sits on Theodore Lawrence. Parentheses, exclamation point. Oh my god. Lori, a very serious looking 17-year-old boy. Dear me, I didn't know anyone was here. Don't mind me. Stay, if you like. I won't disturb you. Not at all. I don't know many people, and I felt rather strange at first, you know. So do I. They stand there, unsure of what to do, both shy. Miss March, isn't it? Yes, Mr. Lawrence. But I'm not Miss March, I'm only Joe. And I'm not Mr. Lawrence, I'm only Lori. Their first burst of conversation has run its course, and they smile awkwardly at each other, standing in the non-unpleasant awkwardness of meeting. Don't you dance? I don't know how you do things here yet. You see, I've spent most of my life in Europe. Europe? That's capital. I shouldn't use words like that. Says who? Meg. She's my older sister. They peek through the curtain and watch Meg dance. That's her, see? The girl in the violet dress? Very pretty. Okay, for Lori, I'm gonna do a deeper voice. I'll try to go lower. And then for all the girls, I'll do a bit higher up. Just so things can sound a little bit different. He reminds me to be good so father will be proud of me when he returns. Where is he? Volunteered for the Union Army. I wanted to go fight with him. I can't get over my disappointment in being a girl. Lori doesn't look disappointed that she's a girl at all. Joe, would you like to dance with me? I can't because what? You won't tell? Never. I scorched my dress, see? Meg told me to keep still, but so no one would see it. You can laugh if you want to, it's funny, I know. Lori doesn't laugh. He looks quite tender. Never mind that. I'll tell you how we can manage. Dude, Lori played by Timothy Chalamet. Too good. He's the kind of guy in anime that would kabedon a person, dude. Kabedon a person. That's the kind of person Lori is. That we already know, dude. Doesn't laugh, looks quite tender. Never mind that. I'll tell you how we can manage. Ba-boom. Gardner's New Year's party porch night. So now they're outside on the porch. Lori bows. Joe awkwardly curtsies, and then they go dancing wildly up and down a wraparound porch. It's actually very romantic in its exuberance. Sometimes Joe is the woman, and sometimes the man. Same with Lori. They are mid-spin when they see Meg wildly gesture at them from inside. She's hurt. My foot. I've hurt my ankle. Meg limps, Joe supports her, and Lori trails behind. How will I get home? I don't see what you can do except get a carriage or stay here all night. Carriages are too expensive. Well, let me take you. It's right next door. No, thank you. We cannot accept. You must take mine, please. No, it's so early. You can't mean to leave yet. I always leave early. I do, truly. What choice do you have? Bruh. Truly? I gotta start using that word in my freaking vocabulary. I gotta add truly there. It sounds so hot. I do, truly. I don't know, but it also sounds dated, so. The March House night. A laughing Marmee, holding a book and covered in flour, opens the door on Lori and Joe supporting Meg. Goodness gracious, what have you done? Marmee has none of the pretensions of the other mothers. No artifice. She's a hippie before they existed. I like that line. That's a good characterization. The little girls, Amy and Beth, come rushing down the stairs and attack the older girls. Here, make room. Meg is a wounded soldier. I sprained my ankle dancing. Oh, Meg, you'll kill yourself for fashion one of these days. Hannah, we need ice. Hannah's like the maid. Tell us about it. What is he like? Was the music wonderful? What's he like? Lori stands apart. So read Lori, what's he like? Amy's talking about Lori when she says that. Lori stands apart, not wanting to be a disruption, but loving the March household, this slightly medieval utopia of artists and thinkers. Come in, come in. Apologies for the chaos. I enjoy baking in the middle of the night. Don't mind the clutter, Mr. Lawrence. We don't. Lori, please. Can I call you Teddy? Yes. You must be part of the girls' theatricals. I'm Amy. Oh wait, why the hell did I use a fucking deep voice for that? I'm Amy. So now we're saying that Amy likes Laurie right now. When they're like 15, 16. They could use an extra player, although you'll have to fight Joe for the male roles or play a girl. Here, have a scone. Have a scone. Marmee hands him the scone as Hannah enters with ice for Meg's ankle. Amy keeps sneaking looks at Laurie. How are your ankles? Do you need ice? No, thank you, ma'am. Instantly, she sees his loneliness, his lack of a mother. Oh, just call me mother or Marmee, everyone does. It's the ma'am. When he says ma'am, they probably have to say it in like a tone where there's sadness, and then that's when the mom is like, don't worry, girl, don't worry, boy, I'll be your mom. He doesn't say anything, but looks as if he's about to cry. He doesn't have a mother, and hasn't had one for a long time. This part here is I think it's too novelistic, where he's sort of just talking about it, but I think it does give the actor and whoever, like all the other actors and all the other performers, something to base off of. So it's not all bad, but I think it's because in screenplay writing, you generally want to go with write what you see, not what you can't see. So for this part here, other than the acting portions where you can sort of act like pensive, act sad, there's not too much else that you can see. And so if you're like movie watchers, if you're watching the movie and you're just seeing some of this, you just kind of recognize like Laurie is sad, or he's, you know, oh, like whatever. Maybe you can piece together the mother part because Marmee is talking about the mom, but it's not said anywhere. It's not really shown that he doesn't have a mother, and so it's a bit hard to really show it on screen. But like in my case, I didn't really catch that he didn't have a mother until we saw his family, which is soon, which is very later, which is like pretty quick. It really seems like being a fine young lady to come home from a party in a carriage and have maids to wait on me. I don't believe fine young ladies enjoy themselves a bit more than we do. The girls laugh and prance and gossip about the warm fire. He stands apart, loving them all, the whole family. But most especially Joe. As Laurie retreats back to his big, lonely house, he looks across the field to Joe, riding alone in the attic, absorbed with her work. Okay, so Joe is her own thing. Laurie likes Joe, and we have Amy who likes Laurie. Shown through their acting, what's done, all that stuff. The present. Alright, now we're back at the black text, baby. 1968. What was that, 7 years later? Joe works with her riding costume on, an antique military jacket. Her riding is like an attack, moving into enemy territory and occupying space. Her hand starts to cramp. She shakes it, stretches it, and then switches hands. Damn, ambidextrous girl over here. Suddenly she stops. She's heard something. She opens the door, but the hallway is empty. She looks down and sees a book, a very beautiful copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare. She opens the cover. Inside, there is a note. Ugh. What's up with the ugh? What's going on? Friedrich, for the writer in the attic, because you enjoyed the play so much tonight, I wanted you to have this. It will help you study character and paint it with your pen. I would love to read what you're writing, if you'll trust me. I promise honesty and whatever intelligence I can muster. Yours, Friedrich. What this? I love to read what you're writing, if you trust me. As a writer, Okay, I get it. So yeah, so we have Friedrich also loving Joe too. Joe opens the book, and almost greedily she begins to read, reciting the words to herself. Interior Paris ballroom. A gorgeous Paris ball. Alright, so we're back with Amy. A gorgeous Paris ball, and Amy is lively and everyone's favorite at the party. She dances with Fred Vaughn most often, gossips with his sister and her friends, and is charming to everyone. Suddenly, Amy sees something that makes her look sour. We follow her gaze to see Laurie entering. He is loud, drunk, has 2 girls with him. They all fall into a sofa, laughing and loud. Amy frowns and approaches. She stands before him, annoyed. Laurie. How old are they now? 16 plus 7. What, they're like 24. I know Joe is probably around 24. Amy's like 23, 22. No, it's like, yeah, Joe's 23. No, I did my math wrong, I think. I'm gonna get rid of this bad boy. The spam. There's spams here. Amy frowns and approaches. She stands before him, annoyed. I lost my place. Okay, yeah, so Laurie falls in drunk. Amy's annoyed. Laurie, Amy, I waited an hour for you. I feel caught. Laurie clumsily makes a space for her while the other ladies depart. Amy does not. She walks away, forcing him to follow. Amy, please. Do you want to know what I honestly think of you? What do you honestly think of me? I despise you. Why do you despise me? Because with every chance for being good, useful, and happy, you are faulty, lazy, and miserable. Oh, this is interesting. Selfish people do like to talk about themselves. Am I selfish? Yes, very selfish. With your money, talent, beauty, and health. Beauty? Ah, you like that, you old vanity. With all these good things to enjoy, you find nothing to do but dawdle. He drunkenly puts his hand over hers. He wears a ring on his pinky finger, which he never takes off. I'll be good for you, Saint Amy. I'll be good. Aren't you ashamed of a hand like that? No, I'm not. It looks like it's never done a day of work in its life, and that ring is ridiculous. Joe gave me his ring. Amy considers him seriously. I feel sorry for you, I really do. I just wish you'd bear it better. You don't have to feel sorry for me, Amy. You'll feel the same way one day. No. I'd be respected if I couldn't be loved. Damn! So freaking deep. I'd be respected if I couldn't be loved. And what work have you done lately, oh great artiste? Or have you been too busy imagining how you'll spend Frederick Vaughn's fortune? Fred Vaughn, ladies and gentlemen. Amy smarts. His comment cut her to the core. Laurie takes his very messy leave, and she looks at Fred. Fred, I'm so sorry. Damn. God damn. God damn. Laurie's having it tough. He fell from grace, and then Amy's dealing with her own. Everyone's dealing with their own problems. I won't go too deep into it because I think it's jumping too far ahead in the script. Frederick holds a few newspaper clippings and handwritten pages. Back in New York, Joe paces and watches him read. What? Where am I? Joe paces and watches him read, nervous. He laughs. She smiles at his laughter. He finishes reading, puts down the work. He looks at her. Joe instantly feels that she needs to explain. Those are just stories, of course, but I'm working on a novel. And your novel, it will be like this? Yes, so far anyway, with plots like this, duels and killings. It sells. Why don't you sign your real name? My mother wouldn't like it. It's too gory for her. Yes. I want to help with the money I make and not worry her. He considers, then speaks. I don't like them. I don't like them. I like this, the ... Oh, that's... I think it shows a lot. I don't like them. Honestly, I think they're not good. But they're published in the papers and people have always said I'm considered talented. Oh, I think you're talented, which is why I'm being so blunt. Jo, deeply offended, starts to gather up her work. I can't afford to starve on praise. Are you upset? Jo is still a young writer, man. It's hard for her to take good criticism. But also, I get where Frederick is coming from, too. But he's also being harsh and blunt. But I think Jo kind of needs it, too. Are you upset? Of course I'm upset. You just told me you didn't like my work. I thought you wanted honesty. I do. Has no one ever talked to you like this before? I've been rejected plenty of times. But do you have anyone to take you seriously, to talk about your work, and who made you high priest of what's good and what's bad? No one, and I'm not. Then why are you acting like it? Your reaction indicates that you must think there is some truth in it. My reaction indicates that you are a pompous blowhard Shakespeare wrote for the masses. He was the greatest poet who ever lived. He smuggled his poetry into popular works. I'm no Shakespeare. Thank goodness, we already have him. Damn, that's deep. Yeah, I gotta start using this, dude. When people are like, I can't be like Elon Musk or whatever. You gotta be something different, man. You gotta be unique. You gotta be your own person. I like that line. If you know so much about it, why don't you do it yourself? Jo is like, she's deflecting everything, man. Jo, she's all of her insecurity is showing. It's all insecurity. It's all insecurity. I'm not a writer. I don't have the gifts you have. He's complimenting her too all the time. She does what she does when she's hurt, which is that she gets incredibly mean instantaneously, without meaning to, and without being able to take it back. No, you don't. And you'll always be a critic, never an author, and the world will forget that you ever even lived, and no one, I'm sure they will. But yes, no one will forget Jo March. I can believe it. An energy between them, and then she kills it, definitively. We are not friends. You are not my friend, and I don't want your opinion because I don't like you very much, so just don't talk to me anymore. Thank you. She turns to leave, hiding all emotions. My gosh, girl, please. But this is her character. This is what I mean by like Jo at the start of the story. She has her flaws, she has her insecurities, she has all these like red, right? All these red check marks. And then so throughout the story, because we're only on page 27, right? And I wanted to talk about beats, but I think that because of the two different timelines, it's very hard to talk about story beats in this script. Yes, in general. But we're on page 27. We're still early. We're not even halfway done. We're not even like a quarter of the way done. Well, kind of, almost. And we have all these flaws with Jo right now that we're seeing. Jo, in a fury and confusion, walks the streets, letting her feelings burn out. She strides through the entire night that way, like Charles Dickens' night walks. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Interior boarding house day, 1869. After her walk, Mrs. Kirk hands Jo a telegram. Josephine, this is for you. Oh, this is the new year. Okay, because that was like, they're having the new year party, so it's already been the new year. So now it's the new year of 1869. Josephine, this came for you. Jo tears it open and quickly reads. Dear Marmee says, Dear Joe, our Beth has taken a turn for the worse. Please come home as soon as you can. Beth. Joe drifts off to sleep in the train, lulled by the movement. The country speeds past her as she goes forward towards her childhood home that is no longer her home, and to the past that she can no longer find. Damn. Alright, so now Joe's coming back home, and we're going back to 1861 in the red text. Maybe I should change the color of the text of my writing to blue. Joe marches sleeping in her large, cozy writing chair, a blanket wrapped around her. Her fingers are stained with ink, and pages are strewn about her. Sounds of the day start to drift upstairs to her perch. Her eyes flutter open at the distant sound of Joe, where are you? There you go. That's my voice acting. Do you like these garlands? They're beautiful. Joe yawns and stretches and looks through the attic window out onto the snow-covered New England world. Joe whispers to herself, Merry Christmas, world. She wraps the blanket around her and quietly opens the attic door and sneaks down, watching her sisters, her heart's joy, fussing over the decorations Amy has made. Merry Christmas. They all look up, delighted. Joe, we've been up for hours. What have you been writing? Joe clomps down the stairs, pages of the play in her hand. I got carried away with our delicious revenge play last night. Poison. No. Poison. It's Christmas. Flopping down. Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents. It's so dreadful to be poor. Relatable, man. I don't think it's fair for some people to have lots of pretty things and other girls nothing at all. At least we have a father and mother and each other. That's a freaking rhyme right there. We haven't got father, and we won't have him for as long as this war drags on. Okay, so this is still during the war. So I forgot the history, but so 1861 war. And then in the present, the war is won. The war is done. The war is over. I wish I had heaps of money and plenty of servants so I'd never need to work again. You could be a proper actress on the boards. I can't be an actress. They aren't all fallen women. I have lots of wishes, but my favorite one is to be an artist and to go to Paris and to do fine pictures and be the best painter in the world. Amy with the big dreams, dream big, baby. Beth, that's what you want to do, isn't it, Joe? To be a famous writer. Yes, but it sounds so crass when she says it. Why be ashamed of what you want? I'm not. My wish is to have us all be together with father and mother in this house. That's what I want. Beth is perfect. Shh. What about your music, Queen Bess? I only do that for us. I don't need anyone else to hear it. You must not limit yourself. Mother proposed not having any presents this Christmas because our men are suffering in the army. We can't do much, but we should make our little sacrifices and do it gladly. Don't play mother just because she's not home. Alright, so we have more about these people. We have Meg. She's kind of like she's a motherly one. Actress, maybe. But then we know that she's just a wife. Like, she's more of like the traditional role of women. She embodies that. And then we have Joe, writer. She's more independent writer. And then we have Amy, who has dreams of being the famous painter. And then we have Beth, who's kind of just the kid. She wants the family, and she does the piano. She likes music. Don't play mother just because she's not home. Joe throws a pillow at Meg. It hits her squarely in the face. Don't, Joe. It's so boyish. That's why I do it. I detest rude, unladylike girls. I hate affected little chits. What the hell is a chit? I gotta Google that later. Joe tackles Amy and Beth and pulls in Meg. They commence play fighting. In the tussle, Amy shouts out, "Watch my nose, it's already not good." I know you don't care what I think, but you don't want your mother to find you like this, do you, Hannah? The girls untangle and run to Hannah. She's a good-natured woman, old enough to be their grandmother. Of course we care what you think. You're more family than wicked old Aunt March. Don't, Joe. Where is Marmy? Everyone's talking over each other. Goodness only knows. Some poor creature came a-begging, and your ma went straight off to see what was needed. I wish she could help other people at a time convenient to us. Some poor creature came a-begging, and your ma went straight off to see what was needed. I wish she could help other people at a time convenient to us. Holding her doll, Joanna and I are very hungry. Dolls don't get hungry, Beth. Holding up the pages. We've rewritten the climax and we need to get it to memory. Amy, get the costumes. I've made a divine hat and painted those old shoes blue so she truly looks like a princess. I think the melancholy piece I've figured out is pretty much good. Beth goes to the piano and Joe hands out a few pages. Meg, wait until you see this new speech. I don't see how you can write such splendid things, Joe. You're a regular Shakespeare. Not quite. Miss Michelangelo, can you please rehearse the fainting scene? You're as stiff as a poker in that. Almost yelled. I can't help it. I never saw anyone faint, and I don't choose to make myself all black and blue. If I can go down easily, I'll drop. If I can't, I shall fall into a chair and be graceful. I don't care if Hugo does come at me with a pistol. Amy falls into a chair and Joe turns to Hannah. Hannah, I'm not acting. I didn't even say anything. I knew what you were going to say, and I'm not acting. Interior, Concord, March House, continuous. Marmy approaches her modest home and sees her girls laughing and rehearsing, joyfully playing make-believe. She fights tears and sadness about what we don't entirely know. We just know that what she does as a mother isn't free. Of course it's not. Nothing is ever free. Even a joy a mother can make. Damn. We have all this trauma. Just before she flings open the door, she puts a smile on her face. Just like so many mothers, she creates magic where there is none and enables her girls to be brave. Merry Christmas, girls. All the girls shriek and crowd around her. I'm so glad to see you so happy. Mother, are you freezing? Come have some tea. Hannah and I made these cakes. We finished the sewing. Wait until you see my portrait. They clearly worship their mother. As she's talking, they follow her into the kitchen. Joe, you look so tired. Were you up again all night writing? Amy, come kiss me. How are my girls? I'm so hungry. I could eat a horse. Stop it, Joe. Look at this breakfast. Oh man, I like all the dialogue. Joe's dialogue is so boyish. Look at this breakfast. And Amy's always just attacking her. What is it? Not far from here lives a poor young woman, Mrs. Hummel. Her 5 children are in one bed to keep from freezing, and there is nothing to eat. My girls, will you give them your breakfast as a Christmas present? They are very quiet because they really don't. Yeah, I don't want to give away my food. What? Is this where you say that father would want us to? Yes. Mr. Lawrence sits with his grandson Laurie. This is the Lawrence house. Tutor Mr. Brooke. It is quiet and proper, the opposite of the merry mayhem of the March household. Mr. Brooke, while being served, thank you. Then to his host, and thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for including me. You're welcome. Perhaps you could tutor my grandson in matters as well as mathematics. They both look at Lori, who watches the March women walk across the snow-covered field with their breakfast. Joe hits Amy with a snowball, and there is a general tussle. What are they doing? Concord Church, Christmas Day. 1861. All of the proper people of Concord are entering the local church, serving God in the traditional manner. The March family walks by, actually doing the Christ-like thing, instead of performing their faith. Woods around the Hummel house, day 1861. The girls make their way through the woods and finally find themselves outside of a shack that is so dilapidated that it is hardly standing. This is the Hummel house. The girls enter, tentative at first, around such wretched poverty. Mrs. Hummel is barely older than they are, and they are frighteningly thin. Marmee shows no hesitation, immediately taking the infant into her arms. Ach, mein Gott, it is great angels come to us. I'm back. We brought food and blankets and sweaters, and we brought some medicine. These are my girls. They all sat around, making the room less wretched, more homelike. Marmee comforts the baby. Meg takes 2 children into her lap. Amy cleans and straightens. Beth covers. What's Joe doing? Beth covers the other children's blankets. Joe sets up the food. Oh, okay, I didn't see the last line. Freezing but happy, the women return and immediately see Hannah has arranged the unimaginable feast with candy and ice cream and cakes. Hannah pulls Miss March aside while the girls grovel. Amy. Okay, Amy, is it fairies, Santa Claus? No, it's old Aunt March. Hannah says, Mr. Lawrence sent it. The Lawrence boy's grandfather. Why? He saw you giving your Christmas breakfast away and wanted you to enjoy the day. They all run to the window to look. But I thought he was a mean old man. That's so generous of him. His grandson Lord put the idea into his head. I know he did. We should make friends with him. Boys scare me, and that big old house scares me. Jenny Snow says that Mr. Lawrence disowned his son after he went off with an Italian woman. And now his grandson is an orphan. He spends all of his time in that house locked up with his tutor. He is a very kind man who lost his little girl when she was only a child, and now his son as well. His daughter died. That's so sad. But doesn't Lori just seem so romantic? He's half Italian. She's so into him. My gosh. What do you know? You've never spoken to him. Flowers in winter. What? Meg, put yours off somewhere in like some kind of fancy land. I'm not responsible for this feast, but I have got a surprise. A letter from father. Is he coming home? 3 cheers. They gather around Marmee, sitting her into her easy chair and making her comfortable. This is clearly their tradition. I wish I could go. Poor Joe, we can't give up our only brother. It must be very disagreeable to sleep in a tent. Joe, I like Joe the best. Joe takes her position behind the chair. I like Amy. No, I like Amy. I like all of them. Beth just doesn't have too much lines, so I don't know too much about her. Joe stands in the back so we can see her cry. So we can't see her cry. So what if I do? When will he come home? When will he come home? He will stay and do his work faithfully as long as he can, and we won't ask for him back a minute sooner than he can be spared. Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. As the letter is being read, we see the sisters put on the play they had been rehearsing, with Marmee and Hannah cheering them on. They perform for the neighborhood children. The children are entranced as Joe, dressed as Hugo, with a black beard, a mysterious cloak, boots, and a sword, calls out, "What ho, minion, I need thee." A year seems very long to wait. before I see them, but remind them that while we wait, we may all work, so that these hard days need not be wasted. Meg enters as Hagar, the horrible old witch. A smoke effect and a well-done homemade costume makes the audience gasp. Born of roses, fed on dew, what charms and potions canst thou brew? Jo mouths the words along with her. She's written everyone. I know they will be loving children to you. Do their duty faithfully, fight their enemies bravely. Amy, as the sprite, appears on top of the poorly constructed tree to give the illusion of flying. Hither I come, from my fairy home, afar in the silver In mid-speech to gesture, Amy falls with a loud crash. Don't laugh, act like it's alright, just keep going. Beth, play. Beth is revealed playing and trying to keep a straight face while the sisters scramble to keep the performance going and conquered themselves so beautifully. Princess Zara, Amy, and Rodrigo Meg kneel before Don Pedro Jo as he announces them man and wife. Beth plays the final trumpet chords. Brava, brava. The audience claps and the sisters bow. Jo gentlemanly, Meg demurely. Amy, the diva, and Beth's small, quiet curtsy. One woman rises to her feet with her applause and shouts, "That's when I come back to them, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women." Damn, that's Act 1, baby. That's fucking Act 1. Right there, page 38, Act 1. 35, because we had 2 extra ones. My gosh. That's Act 1, baby. We in Act 1, baby. Oh man, there's too much. Maybe I should skip around. We gotta keep going, dude. I ain't gonna back out. I'm gonna do this whole thing. It took me an hour and a half to get through Act 1. I gotta go fast. So we have the present. Train day 1869. The whistle blows. Jo is being gently shaken awake. Your stop, ma'am. Thank you. Interior boarding house, kitchen, laundry, New York day. Mrs. Kirk hangs laundry as Friedrich questions her. She's gone? Why? I don't know. She just left. But she didn't say if she was coming back. We didn't have a heart-to-heart, Professor. What are you doing? Why are you just sitting there? Go dust something. What about the girls? She was the best teacher they ever have. I know. Friedrich looks troubled and serious. Jo, with her luggage, walks home on the familiar roads she knows so well. She breathes in the air and trudges forward. The past. Alright, now we're going to the past now. 1862. The 4 girls are walking, bundled against the cold. The streets are more bustling, the atmosphere cozier. This is how childhood always is in memory, brighter and better. They are back to the daily tasks of making a living. It's so hard to go back to work after such hard times. I wish it was Christmas every day, or New Year's. Wouldn't that be exciting? We're a bunch of ungrateful minxes. Don't use such dreadful expressions. Hold on, okay. I like good, strong words that mean something. Well, I have to go to school, and I don't have any limes. Why the hell you want limes? Limes? The other girls are all trading pickled limes. I'm in debt. I owe ever so many limes. Giving her a quarter. Will that do? What did you do that for? I know what it is to want little things and feel less than other girls. Between that and the drawings, I could wipe out my debt. What drawings? Nothing. Beth shudders. I'm just glad that mother doesn't make me go to that school with all those girls. Beth, after your shopping, I need you to work your way through the new sums and spellings, and I'll check it all when I get home. Meg looks at the sun and speeds up. Hurry, I'll be late. They break apart from each other at the fork in the road. Beth and Meg go in one direction, Amy and Jo in the other. Aunt March's house. Jo hops over a fence and runs towards Aunt March's house. Aunt March dozes, poodle in her lap, while Jo stands by the bookcase and serendipitously reads her own book. She turns the page, trying to be as quiet as possible, but March wakes up. Josephine, yes. Is there a reason you stopped reading Belsham? I'm sorry, I'll continue. You mind yourself, dearie. One day you'll need me and you'll wish you have behaved better. Thank you, Aunt March, for your employment and many kindnesses, but I intend to make my own way in the world. Damn, what a strong person. Make my own way in the world. No one makes their own way, not really. At least of all women. You need to marry well. You are not married, Aunt March, because I was rich and made sure to keep my money. So the only way to be an unmarried woman is to be rich, yes. But there are precious few ways for women to make money. That's not true. You could run a cat house or go on the stage. Practically the same thing. Other than that, you're right. Precious few ways for women. That's why you should heed me. So I can get married. No, so you can live a better life than your poor mother has. Marmee loves her life. You don't know what she loves. Your father cared more about educating Friedman's children than taking care of his family. Yes, but he was right. Is it possible to be right? And it is possible to be right and foolish. I don't think so. Well, you're not paid to think. Damn, too good. Too freaking good. I like all this dialogue, dude. The 2-on-2 dialogue is so good. I know. It's just this back and forth bounce, dude. I can get married. No, so you can live a better life. Marmee loves her life. You don't know what's whatever. Oh, but he was right. It's possible to be right and foolish. I don't think so. You're not paid to think, damn. I know you don't care much about marriage now, and I can't say I blame you, but I intend to go to Europe one more time, and I need a companion. How would you like to be the person I take? I'd like that more than anything. Then read and don't sneak around. I don't like sneaks. During a break, one of the schoolgirls whispers to Amy, President Lincoln. No, father is fighting for him. My father says the war is a waste. We should let them keep their harbor. That is immoral. Everyone benefited from the system, including you, Marches. Why should only the South be punished? Perhaps we should all be punished. The Marches love a cause. Fine, just do Mr. Davis. I don't know if I should. I'll wipe out your debt and give you 5 more limes besides. Why are they obsessed with limes? Limes? Amy is seduced, but it adds so much character. Amy is seduced and instantly starts drawing the very good and accurate caricature. The girls giggle. Amy gets carried away, drawing a conversation bubble with words, "My eye is upon you, young ladies." More laugh, and suddenly a shadow falls over them. All the girls looked up, scared, and move away. Amy, however, is too wrapped up in her drawing to notice. When she does, Mr. Davis looks down sternly at her. Laurie tries very hard to study with his tutor, Mr. Brooke, but it is hopeless. Laurie keeps jumping up and distracting himself with something in the room. His most recent position is standing like a statue perched on a chair. Sit down, Laurie. Latin is a privilege, please. You have to learn this. I can't afford to lose this position. Just return to Cicero. But Laurie is staring out the window. There's a girl out there. No, there is not. Yes, Mr. Brooke, there is a girl. Goddamn, Laurie, you freaking romantic. He throws open the window and yells, "Hello there, are you hurt?" Sniffling but yelling, "I'm Amy." "Hello, Amy, I'm Laurie. I know, you brought my sister back from the dance. I would have never sprained my ankle. I have lovely small feet, best in my family, but I can never go home again. I'm in such trouble. Look." She holds up her hand, which is red and bleeding a little. "Mr. Davis hit me." Goddamn, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis isn't that spicy stuff, yo. Amy, her hand now bandaged, sits looking at an art book, pretending to be a very fine lady. "Tell the servants that I want this painting purchased for me, immediately." Laurie laughs. This is the moment. We're seeing some Lori Amy. Lori laughs at this confident girl. Amy likes making him laugh. Mr. Brooks shakes his head, frustrated. A servant enters, followed by Joe and Meg. She's in here. Meg goes instantly to Amy while Joe gets distracted by all the books. Lori stands when Joe enters. Joe, what richness, Theodore Lawrence, you ought to be the happiest boy in the world. A fellow can't live on books alone. I could. Meg is tending to Amy, and Mr. Brooke can't help but stare at Meg, completely flummoxed by her beauty and goodness. What? Meg is tending to Amy, and Mr. Brooke can't help but stare at Meg, completely flummoxed. What happened, little lamb? What did you do? I was just a drawing, and then Mr. Davis hit me. Amy starts crying again, holding up her hand. Meg has taken off her gloves and put them on a side table. Ooh, this is very key right here. That's why they bolded it too, because this is gonna come back. This is gonna come back. Mr. Brooke eyes the gloves. He's drawn to the items so recently worn by me. Mr. Brooke, don't be so freaking creepy. Joe, who has been roaming the room, stops in front of a portrait of Mr. Lawrence. Lori follows her gaze. Joe, who has been roaming the room, stops in front of a portrait of Mr. Lawrence. Lori follows her gaze. Oh, okay, I remember. I just couldn't register that. English. Christopher Columbus, look at that. That's my grandfather. Are you scared of him? Now she's mentioning the Chris Columbus again. I'm not scared of anyone. He looks stern, but my grandfather was much more handsome. Unfortunately, during this speech, Mr. Lawrence has entered with Mrs. March, unseen by Joe. Joe, we do not compare grandfathers. Joe spins around and sees Mr. Lawrence and her mother. You think he's more handsome, hey? Oh no, you're very handsome. I didn't mean. I knew your mother's father. You forgot his spirit. Thank you, sir. You are not to attend that school anymore. Good, that man has always been an idiot. Joe will teach you. Me? I already teach Beth. You're a good teacher. Mr. Brooke. Yes, women being taught at home is much more proper, I believe. Only because the schools for women are so poor. Indeed, quite right, Mr. Brooke. What is wrong with you? You trying to hit it off with Meg? I wish all the girls would leave his horrible school and that he would die. You did wrong, Amy, and there will be consequences. Thank you so much for taking care of Amy. My girls do have a way of getting into mischief. So do I. That you should run over and we'll take care of you. And please come here whenever you'd like. And tell Beth to come too. Yes, Beth would adore the piano. Is she the quiet one? That's our Beth. Tell the little girl to use our piano. And Joe, borrow any book you'd like. And may I come look at the paintings? Mr. Brooke to Meg. There's also a lovely greenhouse. Brooke, chill. We must be going. Girls, thank you. Please come over. Many thanks. Our apologies. The women leave, and Mr. Brooke notices Meg has left her glove. Oh, Miss Meg, you forgot your glove. The men are left standing in silence of their absence. Mr. Lawrence breaks the spell. Well, back to work. Oh, I like this. I like the movie. I like the story. It's so good because, you have all these women who are just doing things that they're passionate about. It's so freaking good. And the writing, and the story, everything. The present, exterior, March house day. So Joe looks at the Lawrence house, which is dark, shutters closed. It doesn't seem right without Lori in it. She looks in the forest by the pond to find an old mailbox. She produces a key with a red ribbon. I said ribbon. And holds it in her hand. And we and she are transported back to the past. Interior, March attic, day 1862. Meg and Beth, Joe and Amy are all dressed as men with hats and spectacles and pipes. Meg reading from the homemade newspaper in her lovely, sonorous voice. A new play written by Miss Jo March will appear at the Barnville Theatre in the course of the next few weeks, which will surpass anything ever seen before on the American stage. Starring the greatest actress from here to the Mississippi River, Miss Meg March. Weekly report: Meg, good. Joe, bad. Beth, very good. Amy, middling. Excellent. Well done, sirs. Mr. President and gentlemen, I wish to propose the admission of a new member, one who highly deserves the honor, would be deeply grateful, and would add immensely to the spirit of the club. I propose Mr. Theodore Lawrence. No, absolutely not. Come now, let's have him. He's a real boy. We don't want any boys. This is a club for ladies. I think we should do it, even if we are afraid. I say yes. It's Laurie. Now then, everybody vote. And remember that it's our Laurie, and say A. Aye. And as there is no time like this, the present Joey throws open the doors of the closet. Laurie is in there already dressed for the occasion of the meeting. You traitor, you rogue. Ladies, please, this is my stratagem. I deserve the blame. Joe only gave into it after lots of teasing. Here. I merely wish to say that as a slight token of my gratitude, and as a means of promoting friendly relations between adjoining nations, I propose these sets of keys for a little post office I've made in the forest by the pond. Now we're getting the backstory of the key. Allow me to present 4 copies of the key, and with many thanks for your favor, take my seat as part of the club. He lays the 4 keys with different colored ribbons before them and bows again. They all cheer. Present day, we're going with that red. Joe holds the very same key and opens the post office box. Nothing, of course. She shuts it back up and trudges across the field to her childhood home. Hold on, I'm just checking something. Interior March House Kitchen, day 1869. Joe walks in the kitchen and is immediately surrounded by Hannah, Meg, Marmee, Demi, and Daisy. They unload her bags and sit in a chair and pepper her with questions. Hello, thank God you're home. Oh, Joe, I've missed you. We could have come to get you. Leaning down to the children, Daisy and Demi, you've gotten so big. I wish you were here to teach them. I'm here now. It's so good to have you home. I think the loneliness got to Beth, though she ain't said anything. Beth, where is Beth? Joe turns to Marmee, who knows the truth in her eyes. She's upstairs. Oh my Joe, we all thought she was better, but the fever has weakened her heart. Joe produces an envelope full of money. Take this and find her the best doctor you can. No, you need this money to live in New York. I'm not going back. I'm using the rest to take her to the sea and get her strong. She hugs all the women again. Where is Amy coming home? When is Amy coming home? We didn't want to worry her. Does she not know? Beth insisted we not tell her because she didn't want to ruin Amy's trip. Amy has always had a talent for getting out of the hard parts of life. Joe, don't be angry with your sister. Alright, we're going back in the past. I think this movie takes place mainly in the red. Joe, in her and Meg's room, places a pretty cover page on top of the novel she has written. She lovingly writes, for father, and hears, Joe, where are you? I can't find my other glove. I'm stretching. Oh man, I'm stretching. Joe, where are you? I can't find my other glove. Take mine. Joe puts her novel carefully in a drawer that is filled with her finished writing and closes it. Joe, we're going to be late. Where are you going? You're not invited. You're going somewhere with Laurie, I know it. Yes, we are. Now stop bothering. Do you have the tickets? Yes, hurry up. You're going to the theater with Lori? Meg, please, can I come? I'm sorry, dear, but you weren't invited. You can't go, Amy, so don't be a baby and whine about it. I've been shut up in here, and I never go anywhere. Beth has her piano, but I'm so lonely. I can teach you chords. I don't want chords. I want to go to the theater. Teatre. No, I think you'd hate to poke it yourself in when you're not wanted. We already have to deal with dull Mr. Brooke. I like him. He's kind. I'll pay for myself. You will not come. Joe and Amy are so angsty. I'm sorry, my sweet, but Joe is right. Next time. Joe. Come, Meg, stop petting her. You'll be sorry for this, Joe March. You will. You'll regret this. Joe and Meg watch the play. Alright, here's the rising conflict. You know, the good old upside down. This, we had Act 1. It was done. We're in Act 2, so now it's like the rising action. Not rising conflict. Rise in action. Things are rising up to a big midpoint, and the climax is right here. Laurie looks at Joe, while Mr. Brooke looks at Meg. Amy sneaks into Joe and Meg's room, searching every drawer and hiding place for the novel that she knows is there. She finally finds it in the bureau. She pulls out the novel and Joe has just lovingly placed there. As they leave the theater, Mr. Brooke offers Meg his arm, and she takes it. Joe notices and doesn't like it at all. Laurie sees Joe's expressive, offers him his own arm in mock chivalry. She punches him in the shoulder and then races up, taking her sister's other arm, pulling her away from Mr. Brooke. Joe does not like this kind of thing. I mean, we already see her. She's so like, she rejects like the traditional role of women. She wants to be herself. She's very tomboy, and she wants, and that sort of spreads to her sisters too. Like, she doesn't want them to live, like, she shuns them or shames them if they want more like traditional female roles or ways of life. She runs to beg, you're a million times better than she. Hold on, I'm checking something real fast. Okay. Meg and Joe waltz in. Beth is playing with her dolls, and Amy is sitting and reading suspiciously quiet. Joe sprints upstairs, yelling down as she runs up the stairs. Meg, you're a million times better than she was, although she was a terrific fainter. I wonder how she managed to turn white as she did. Oh, that Mr. Brooke. Could he be any more auspicious? I thought he was very well-mannered. Hold on. Let me just get this idea down. Beth, what's your favorite eye color? Purple. Mr. Brooke has blue eyes and an old soul, which is much more important than money. Meg is infatuated. Joe reappears, walking slowly. Has anyone taken my novel? No. Why? Amy starts reading even more intently than before. Amy, you've got it. No, I haven't. That is a lie. It isn't. I haven't got it. I don't know where it is, and I don't care. Tell me or I'll make you. Trying to hold her back. Joe, don't. Marby. I burnt it up. I burnt up your book. I told you I'd make you pay, and it did. You wicked girl, you wicked, wicked girl. I can never write it again. I'll never forgive you as long as I live. They're fighting, full out fighting, during these last lines as their sisters and Barbie. As their sisters and Marmee attempt to stop it. Joe is weeping, Beth cradling her head. Amy holds her hand. Meg holds her hand. Marmee enters with Amy, who looks penitent. Marmee nods at her, as if to say, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe. Nothing from Joe. Amy. It's just that the only thing you care about is your writing, so it's not as if I could hurt you by ruining one of your dresses, and I really did want to hurt you. I am the most sorry for it now. I'm so sorry. Marmee approaches the bed. I think I cried here the first time I read it. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Forgive her, help each other, and you begin again tomorrow. I just got a message, but I'm good. She doesn't deserve my forgiveness. I will hate her forever. Damn, this is the start of their rocky relationship. A very tense breakfast. Joe's eyes are red and puffy, and the remorseful Amy tries to sit beside her and make peace, but Joe changes seats away from her. Amy looks pleadingly at Meg. Laurie bursts open the back door, unaware of all the trouble. Good morning, lady. That's brisk and brilliant. I think the last day for the river. Get your ice skates. Joe speaks up. Joe have something to do. 1 second. Go down, and I'll be right there. I want to come too. Last time you promised I could go. Joe, not acknowledging her, grabs her skates and races out. Is she going to be like this forever? It was a very hard loss for her. Is there nothing I can do? Go after her. Don't say anything till Joe has got good-natured with Laurie. Then take a quiet minute and just kiss her or do some kind thing. I'm sure she'll be friends again. Amy grabs her skates. Oh, here comes the bad stuff. Here comes the big baddie. Wait for me, please. Joe pretends not to hear, skating near the edge while Laurie tests the ice. Amy is just getting to the riverbank, waving and calling, hello, wait for me. Stay near the edge. It's not safe in the middle. Joe hesitates for a moment and looks at Amy, who struggles with her skates. It's not clear whether or not she heard of Laurie. Joe opens her mouth to say something, but changes her mind. The anger in her heart has made her small and mean. Ready? Joe takes off down the ice, jumping the gun. Laurie races after her. Meanwhile, Amy tentatively steps onto the ice. How does Laurie not hear her? Begins gliding, arms out, a young and less experienced skater. Farther along the river, Laurie and Joe are trying tricks and spins while Joe suddenly feels a pang of guilt, but shoves her feelings down and races to catch Laurie. She plows into Laurie, toppling him. They are both laughing when just at that moment, crack, the sound of ice splitting and a high-pitched scream. Help! Help! And Joe's freeze and look at each other, and in the same instant they scramble up, Joe screaming, Amy! It's Amy! They race back, Joe sending up a breathless prayer, an incantation of pleading with the universe. Oh God, oh God. They find Amy surfacing and screaming and then going back under. Joe is almost paralyzed with no, but Laurie has leapt into action. Joe, get a branch. Joe obeys quietly, quickly, blindly. Using the incredible strength that is available to people in times of crisis, Joe drags a large branch over to Laurie, who stretches it over to Amy. Grab on. She does, and Laurie and Joe both lie flat on their stomachs, so as not to disturb the ice. As they pull together, Joe is terrified but keeping herself together to get Amy to safety. Tears are streaming down Joe's face as she strips off all of her warm clothes and bundles them around Amy. My sister. Oh my gosh. Amy is asleep, covered in blankets. Joe is slumped on the floor beside her, not even feeling herself worthy of a chair. Marmee adjusts Amy's blanket and then, looking at Joe, decides to take a seat beside her on the floor. She's asleep. If she had died, it wouldn't have been my fault. It would have been my fault. She will be fine, and the doctor said she didn't even think she'd catch a cold. What is wrong with me? I've made so many resolutions and written sad notes and cried over my sins, but it doesn't seem to help. When I get in a passion, I get so savage, I could hurt anyone and enjoy it. You remind me of myself. But you're never angry. I'm angry nearly every day of my life. You are? I'm not patient by nature, but with nearly 40 years of effort, I have learned to not let it get the better of me. I'll do the same then. Marmee touches her daughter's face. I hope you'll do a great deal better than me. There are some natures too noble to curb, too lofty to bend. Damn, I like that line. The two women sit beside each other as Amy sleeps. Joe puts her head on Marmee's shoulder. Boom. So we had the small arc of, we see Amy and Joe conflict and resolution. A little bit of stuff like that here. We got a good line. a little bit more of the history. And now we're going into here. It's already 11. My word. We've been doing this for so long. 60. We're more than halfway through, too. We're almost halfway. We're gonna hit a good important beat soon. I can feel it. Joe sitting on the bed, watching over Beth as she did for Amy. She attempts to write while Beth sleeps. She keeps starting, crossing things out. She is divinely dissatisfied. Beth, Joe. Oh, Beth, my love, you didn't need to come. I never should have left. Do you need anything? Here, take some water. Oh, I need some water. I need water. Okay, I'm watered up. I'm juiced up, baby. We're going to the sea to get you strong and well to see. I want you dancing by the time Amy gets back. She's not cutting her trip short, is she? No. Good. Is there any news? What does she say? She writes that Laurie is there. I'm glad he's with her. He won't respond to any of my letters. Do you miss him? I miss everything. I know. Meg is saying goodbye to everyone as she sets off for her adventure to visit Annie Moffat. Mr. Brooke is carrying her baggage. Hannah and the sisters and Marmee are helping with odds and ends. Laurie is boxing with Joe, and Mr. Lawrence is there in his proper overseeing things kind of way. Hurry up, you two. Meg is going to be gone for a week. Come on. You take the other carriage and surprise her. Make sure she doesn't fall in love. Yes, Captain Joe. It was so kind of Annie to invite me. Thank you for letting me go, Mommy. Just be who you are, my sweet Meg. It was mine when I was your age. Wait, what? There was a freaking character. What character was it? There was a freaking character. Everyone calls him Dad? What movie? There was a movie where all the kids... Oh! I remember. Okay, so it was a webtoon called Wait Where the Shooting Star Falls. Wait Where the Shooting Star Falls. Great webtoon. And this webtoon, one character here, I mean, this is such a tangent that we don't have time for, but yeah, it's because the father's kids call him by his first name. It's because he runs like an orphanage or something, so that he wants his kids, his real kids, to call him by his first name, and then also that way his fake kids don't have to. I don't know. That's all I wanted to say. So I was like, why is he calling him Marmee? Why did they call the mom Marmee? I don't know. And then they call her mother after. I've never understood saving jewelry until marriage. Pretty things should be enjoyed. To Laurie while kneeling and removing a ring from her finger. Yes, pretty things should be enjoyed. Joe places the ring in Laurie's hand. I wish I could go to a debutante ball. Do you think this was a good idea, her going away like this? Girls have to go into the world and make up their own minds about things. Don't forget about us. I won't, Joe. It's only a week. She needs to have some decent shows. Thank you again for the carriage, Mr. Lawrence. I don't know how to repay you. Nonsense, although there's anything. For a second, Mr. Lawrence flicked at Beth, but he directs his comments to Marmee. It occurred to me today that my daughter's piano suffers from want of use. Does it? Shh. Wouldn't one of your girls like to run over and practice on it now and then, just to keep it in tune? If they don't care to come, why, never mind. Oh, sir, they do care very, very much. Are you the musical girl? I love it dearly, and I'll come if you are quite sure nobody will hear me and be disturbed. Not a soul, my dear. Drive on and keep her safe. Mr. Lawrence and Beth. He wants his daughter back. He wants the daughter that he could never have. Meg is pulled away by a carriage and waves goodbye. So then they're at the debutante. Beth does her thing. She comes in. All the other girls in the fabulous dresses. Meg's at the debutante. I don't think we need to do this. I'm trying to go move on forward to the stuff that I like. Cause this part here, it's all good, but they're talking about Meg wants a more traditional lifestyle, I suppose. Yeah, Lori does not mesh well with Meg. A very nervous Beth. She plays. Trying to play quietly as soon as you play, but as soon as she plays with abandon. I like with abandon. She is on fire. Mr. Lawrence sitting by the stairs. Yeah, Mr. Lawrence, so sad. Meg feels faint from the corset and the champagne. I'm afraid it would be too disagreeable for you. I don't like your dress, but I think you are just splendid. I know it's silly, but please don't tell Joe. Let me have my fun tonight. I'll be desperately good for the rest of my life. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Like, Lori and Joe share the same disposition. Meg shares a different one, right? She likes the fancies and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. The two are dancing, the twirl. Picture changes too. Sits scared and ashamed, and John, Mr. Brooke, intelligent and kind and handsome, examines the two ledger books. She struggles to understand. I'm sorry, John, the silk was the first real expense. $50, while a lot, is not, I suppose, too much for a dress, with all the notions that are needed to finish it these days. Well, it's not exactly even a dress yet, it's just the fabric. You marry Mr. Brooke? Mr. Brooke, the creep that keeps freaking eyeing you? I know you are angry, John. I don't mean to waste your money, but I can't resist. Aw, Meg, no. But I can't resist when I see Sally buying all she wants and pitying me because I don't. I try to be content, but it's hard, and I'm tired of being poor. John bows his head, wounded. I'm afraid of this. I was afraid of this. I do my best, Meg. Instantly regretful. Meg begs forgiveness. Meg begs forgiveness. Oh, John, my dear, kind, hard-working boy, I didn't mean it. I was so wicked, so untrue and ungrateful. How could I say it? Perhaps you meant it. No, not a bit. I'll figure out a way to get you your coat as well, and then won't we be grand, two of us? I can't afford it, my dear. John, but I need to go to bed. John gets up from the table, and I really am very sorry that you have had to do without so many beautiful things, and that you're married to someone who can't give them to you. He leaves, and then she is terrified that she's broken the man she loves so much. Damn. Gotta crack my whole back. Amy is looking through her own paintings and sketches and has a disturbed expression on her face. Laurie enters. His lot in life is always to be apologizing to one March sister or another, and he looks truly contrite. Hello, Amy. I don't want to see you. Wait, where is this? Oh, is this the scene? Is this my favorite? Alright, we're going deep into here. Hold on, let me like... Alright. We're ready. We are ready. Okay. Here we go. Where's my pen? Oh, Amy, I'm so sorry for how I behaved. Please forgive me. So, what happened before? Laurie was drunk. Right? He was drunk. He caused a scene in front of Amy, calling her like, "Oh, you're just a woman. You're a painter. You're a failed painter. You're just gonna marry Fred Vaughn for the money." All that. Have you been drinking again? Only a little, and it's 4 p.m. You can't be too hard on me. Someone has to do it. So when do you begin your great work of art, Rafaela? Never. He sees her face, the ashen worry traced on it. What? Why? I'm a failure. Joe is in New York being a writer, and I am a failure. That's quite a statement to make at 20. Rome took all the vanity out of me, and Paris made me realize I'd never be a genius. I'm giving up all my foolish artistic hopes. So wait, back then it was 16. Joe was 16, 17. Amy was 13. If she's 20 now. Took all the vanity out of me, and Paris made me realize I'd never be a genius. I'm giving up all my foolish artistic hopes. Why should you? You have so much talent and energy. Talent isn't genius, and no amount of energy can make it so. I want to be great or nothing. I won't be a commonplace dauber, and I don't intend to try anymore. Laurie watches her and then says conspiratorially, "What women are allowed into the club of geniuses anyway? The Brontes? That's it? I think so. And who always declares genius? Well, men, I suppose. They're cutting down on the competition. That's a very complicated argument to make me feel better." Do you, though? Feel better? I do think that male or female, I'm of middling talent. Middling talent. Then may I ask your last portrait of me? Alright. Now that you've given up all your foolish artistic hopes, what are you going to do with your life? Polish up my other talents and be an ornament to society. Here is where Fred Vaughn comes in, I suppose. Don't make fun. I'm not. You are not engaged, I hope. No. But you will be, if he goes down properly on one knee. Oh, I love that line. I don't know, I just like the word properly. If he goes down properly on one knee. Maybe I'm just picturing Timothy Chalamet say it. Most likely, yes. He's richer than you even. I think this is interesting. This is an interesting thing. Because normally, maybe you could put like parentheses beat. Right? Put parentheses beat. Here, instead of Amy. But then they decided to do Amy instead. A second time. Which, I guess it has the same feel of it. Because also something could be here that has been like redacted from this version of the script. I understand queens of society can't get on without money, but it does sound odd coming from one of your mother's girls. I've always known that I would marry rich. Why should I be ashamed of that? There is nothing to be ashamed of as long as you love him. Well, I believe we have some power over who we love. It isn't something that just happens to a person. I think the poets might disagree. Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman, I have no way to make money. Not enough to earn a living and support my family. This line is the best line I've ever written in my entire life, man. It's so good. I think the poets might disagree. We have some power over who we love. It isn't something that just happens to a person. Damn. Even if I had my own money, which I don't, it would belong to my husband the minute we were married. If we had children, they would belong to him, not me. they would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me. The sound of a carriage approaching, and Amy gives a little start. That would be Fred now. How do I look? Do I look all right? And Laurie looks at her. He really looks at her for the first time. You look beautiful. You are beautiful. I think Laurie really does fall for Amy. Like I don't think that he's, just settling for second place. I think Amy actually matches Laurie a bit better, because Joe and Laurie are like friends. They don't have a bit of that relationship banter, if that makes any sense. Because I think because in the past, in the red text, Amy was 13, Laurie was 17. If you're 17 and you're looking at a 13-year-old and you're like, God damn, like, nah, dude, chill. I don't know, maybe, but back then it might be different. But now, like, chill, And then Joe was 16. Age aside, too, I think that mentally as well, they matched more at that younger age. But as they grew older, Joe diverted into her own ways, and then Laurie kind of matured more too, and Amy matured a lot. She really, especially with this line here and the line before about the economic, she's a lot more mature, less whiny, less childish. And so when Laurie really looks at her for the first time, the beautiful, sure, physical, it's all good, she grew up, but also he's acknowledging her for what she's saying, acknowledging her for her mind too, and what she has, and what her viewpoints, and her own ideas, all that good jazz. On a perfect spring day, Laurie, playing the host, makes the introductions of the British family to the March women, and he introduces Fred Vaughn, who of course we already know as Amy's potential husband. This is Fred Vaughn and his sister Kate, and of course you know Mr. Brooke. And this is Meg, Amy, Beth, and Joe. Joe tips her oversized hat. So pleased to meet you. Oh, how elegant. Remember the name Amy March. I'm going to come find you one day in London. Oh, I certainly will. Beach day 1862. Kites, badminton, ocean. Alright, yeah, this is just the beach stuff. Laurie's making moves. Isn't it romantic? Joe is neglecting. Joe is like, boom, dodging them. Dodging all of Laurie's advances. Present day, Joe and Beth. Beth wants to give up her writing. She's kind of doing her thing. Beth is just sick. Okay, Union Army. If you're walking to Vermont, there's Mrs. I'm trying to remember what's going on. War stuff. The dad's hurt in the war, but he's gonna come back. $25. That isn't like how much. Oh yeah, Joe cuts her hair. Your hair, how could you? You're one beauty. She cuts her hair. This shows, yeah, dude. Joe's a badass, dude. Joe is one of the strongest freaking characters I've ever. She's so cool. She's a straight badass. Joe runs to Laurie. My girls, I love you more than the world. No. And then she's crying. In my hair. I know you would. Yeah, the two sisters so different, sit and comfort each other. They have the hair. They can bond. But they're different now, but they are so the same. When they grow older, Amy and Joe are so alike. But I think it's because they're so alike that they butt heads all the time and they fight. At least that's just my interpretation from what I've seen. Lori, when are you going back to your grandfather? This is one of my favorite scenes, dude. Lori lazily lolls on the grass of the beautiful estate while Amy sketches him. A peace has settled over them. They're friends again. Amy gives him a hard time playfully. So now we're in Paris, the garden scene. Lori, when are you going back to your grandfather? Very soon. I'm gonna get water. I gotta do this scene justice, baby. You've said that a dozen times in the past. Short answers save trouble. He expects you, so why don't you do it? Natural depravity, I suppose. Natural indolence, you mean. I'll only plague him if I go, so I might as well stay and plague you a little longer. I like how dialogue flows in here. It goes very naturally and hits the points that they want to talk about. He jumps up and play fights with her, making her laugh. He captures her and holds her. You can bear it. You can bear it. In fact, I think it agrees with you. Amy disentangles herself. She goes back to drawing. What are you doing? Beat. There's a beat right here. They're flirting, dude. Lori's putting the moves on her. What are you doing? Looking at you? No, I mean, what do you intend to do? Oh, you mean with life? Yes. I've been writing an opera. I'd be the central figure. That's a waste of time. What would you have me do? Go back and work for your grandfather and make something of yourself. So mature. She watches him, and he watches her. What is he, like 26? Yeah, Lori's 26, she's 20. She watches her. Here. Lori comes around to look at the sketch and sees another sketch beside it from years ago. Young and full of happiness. He picks it up, touch. When did you do this one? It was the day at the beach when I met Fred for the first time. The mention of Fred changes the air. When is he coming back? A week or two? He has business in London. Lori gets very intense all of a sudden. Words rush out. This is when he freaking walks and paces around the garden for a second. Don't marry him. What? Don't marry him. Why? You know why. He takes her hand. She pulls it away. No, Lori, that's mean. It's just mean of you. Why? I have been second to Joe my whole life in everything, and I will not be the person you settle for just because you cannot have her. I won't do it. Not when I spent my entire life loving you. Damn. God damn. Know your worth, Amy. Amy has her foot in a bucket of plaster, working on making a mold. What is happening? I'm making a mold of my foot for Lori to remind him I have nice feet. Feet! Even boys back then were obsessed with feet. Alright, we're getting through all the scenes that I really wanted to get to. But we're almost there. We're almost at the end. I'm trying to remember. That suited me as well as yours. They always remind me of the gentle giver. Humble sir. Mr. Lawrence, you remind me so much of my little girl. The piano is yours. She's resting. How is she? Is there anything I can do? What is it? It's scarlet fever. Beth is sick. Okay. Seashore day, Joe and Beth. It's just a little story. It's nothing like what you usually write. You don't think. It's too boring. Yeah, dude, this is the classic thing right here. What Joe is writing now about the Little Women. Write what you know. That's the biggest thing, dude. Everyone always says it, dude. If you don't know about freaking like the struggles of Romanian citizens during some kind of regime, they don't write about that. Write about what you know. Write about your life. You can use the lessons and the conflicts and stuff that you've learned in your life to write fancy stories. Even when I'm not here, it is said quickly, almost casually, but it lands like it's meant to. Damn, Beth is already foreshadowing her death. Beth is sick. Fran's rented apartment. Amy rushes in, excited to tell March. Hello, Aunt March. The Lawrence boy was just here. He was. What a disappointment he's turned out to be. It must be the Italian in him. Why is everyone hating on Italians? Amy sits down without intending to. When will he be back? He's gone to London. Why? Why do you need to discuss with him? Ooh, yeah. Okay, so this is the marriage part, but I think we don't need to go too deep into this section here. Let me see where the next scene was. Amy decides to abandon Fred, goes with Lori. I think a lot of Amy's childishness is starting to come back with this, which isn't a bad thing, which is good. She's been sort of forced to grow up, or she had to put on this air of this is what I should be doing. This is what's proper. This is what I have to do. But now that he has some more freedom, it's good. And then Meg and John drama. I'll have home to help with the children. I'm sorry. I'm just so worried for Beth. That's relieved, John. Where is that scene where Lori confesses to Joe? We're gonna get there soon. Beth has gotten worse. Meg and John stuff. Yeah. Let's see, where's that scene? To find Beth sitting with her mother and Hannah eating, she cries with joy, kisses Beth's head. Oh yeah, this is where the dad comes back. Alright, we don't need to go too deep into that. There's nothing to say, really. Joe becomes the parent. Graveyard day. Beth dies. Sad moment. What is this? We're at page 94. No, we're at page 91. We're sort of hitting that lowest point now in that arc. We're about to hit down there. We're almost there though. We haven't. I know the moment of the climax. I know the moment. But we're more and more bad things. So this is the falling action, where things were looking good. You know, the promise of the premise, rising action. Where was the midpoint? Crap. I think since there's two timelines, it's hard to pinpoint. But I think it was. One was in the present day. I think it was the beach scene where Beth and Joe were talking at the beach, and Beth was talking to Joe about the stuff. It's either that scene or it's the scene where Amy and Timothy Chalamet, what's his name? Lori. Yeah, there's one of those two. It could be both because there's so many different plot points being done. And then in this current time, I don't know, I already forgot. It's been a second since I've got to that part. But we already moved way past it. Joe cries alone. Cannot comprehend how the world keeps spinning around her. Beth is dead. I can't believe today is my wedding day. Meg's getting married. Me neither. What's wrong? Nothing, Joe. We can't leave. We can leave right now. I can make money. I'll sell stories. and you should be an actress. I want to get married. Why? I love him. You will be bored of him. You will be just because my dreams are not the same as yours doesn't mean that they're unimportant. Yeah, Jo is coming face to face with all of her conflicts right now. Jo is hitting the... So we have the want. She still doesn't have what she wants, and she still doesn't know what she needs, right? But then all of these obstacles, all of these people are like throwing rocks at her, getting her to realize all the problems of her like, what's it called? Abandonment? Is that abandonment? I don't know. Not abandoned, but like avoidant. She's avoidant. She doesn't want to deal with it. I want a family and a home, and I'm not scared of working and struggling, but I want to do it with John. I just hate that you're leaving me. Oh, Jo, I'm not leaving you. Besides, one day, it will be your turn. I'd rather be a free spinster and paddle my own canoe. I can't believe childhood is over. It was going to end one way or another, and what a happy end. Meg and Mr. Brooke are married, and Mr. March officiating. What an excessive... Wow, they're married. So nice. Meg dances with John. Fun. Aunt March says something important here. Maybe worse than some people find in big houses. I understood your meaning, my dear. I may not always be right, but I am never wrong. Damn, look at that. Amy takes over from Marmee. Aunt March gratefully accepting her hand. Thank goodness, here's the only sane member of the family. I really can't take any more of this. I may not always be right, but I am never wrong. Amy leads her away. Aunt March is going to Europe and wants me to go with her. How wonderful. Now that I know why I can spend all this point reading to her. Jo throws her arms. No, she wanted me to come as her companion. Europe? With you? She wants me to work on my art. And my French, of course. Oh, that's wonderful, Amy. Marmee takes Jo's hands, knowing how it's hurt her. Jo smiles through her pain for Meg's day, but it was a true blow. Meg's house, day 1865. The newlywed home. Laurie and Jo walks through the woods together as they've done for years. Meg married Amy off to Europe. Now that you're a graduate. Oh, is this the scene? We're here. This is the scene. Here we go. What is this? Page 1. Page 99. Oh yeah. This is pretty much like, I'd say this could be the climax of this here could be the climax of the red timeline. Laurie and Jo walk through the woods together, as they've done for years. Meg married, Amy off to Europe. Now that you're a graduate, you'll be off on a long holiday. I'm not good like Beth, so I'm angry and restless. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay here. Why? Should we run off and join the pirate ship? He looks at her and inhales, about to talk. Jo sees his face and immediately knows what is about to happen. Oh yeah. Jo wants to hold on to everything. She wants to hold on to this like innocence, this happy memories, right? Where she doesn't want to, I guess, join the real world, accept what life is like. Even though you can say that she is accepting what life is like, where she's finding a job, independent, right? She knows it's hard being a writer. She's doing what she can to like make money and stuff, but she's still not accepting the feeling side. Like this is all the tangible side, but she's not accepting the emotional side of it, right? She's rejecting. I mean, I don't think she has feelings, or she ends up getting feelings for Laurie, I guess, kind of, but not really. Like she never really says it. So I don't think that she really wants feelings with him. I forgot what the point was that I was trying to make, but whatever. He looks at her and inhales, about to talk. Joe sees his face and immediately knows what's going to happen. No, Teddy, please don't. It's no use, Joan. We've got to have it out. No, we don't. I've loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. I couldn't help it, and you've been so good to me. I've tried to show it, but you wouldn't let me. Now I'm going to make you hear and give me an answer because I can't go on like this anymore. I wanted to save you from this. I thought you'd understand. I've worked hard to please you, and I've given up billiards and everything you didn't like, and waited and never complained, for I hoped you'd love me, though I'm not half good enough. Yes, you are. You're a great deal too good for me, and I'm so grateful to you and so proud of you. I don't see why I can't love you as you want me to. You can't? I can't change the feeling, and it would be a lie to say I do when I don't. I'm so sorry, Teddy. So desperately sorry, but I can't help it. Yes, so she doesn't. And it's okay. So she rejects him. She doesn't have feelings for him. And even in the end, she says that she has feelings for him. But I think it's a lie. She's just sort of compensating. Like, I never think she had feelings. I think she actually has feelings for Friedrich more in the future when she's grown up more. At this point, no, feelings aren't on her mind. Lori backs away from her like she's hit him. I can't love anyone else. It would be a disaster if we married. We'd be miserable. We both have such quick tempers. If you loved me, Joe, I would be a perfect saint. I can't. I've tried it and I failed. Everyone expects it. Grandpa, your family, Joe, say you will and let's be happy. I can't say yes, truly, so I won't say it at all. Yeah, dude, Lori's so desperate right here. He's going ham. He's going ham on it. Lori's so desperate here. I've tried it and I failed. I can't say yes truly, so I won't say it at all. That's good. Stay true. Like, don't get sucked into some kind of marriage that you don't want to be in. I think Joe is in the right here. You'll see that I'm right eventually, and you'll thank me for it. I'll be hanged if I have to. You'll find some lovely accomplished girl who will adore you and make a fine mistress for your fine house. I wouldn't. I'm homely and awkward and odd, and you'd be ashamed of me, and we would quarrel. We can't help it even now. I hate elegant society, and you'd hate my scribbling, and we would be unhappy and wish we hadn't done it, and everything would be horrid. This is all of her insecurities being poured out. But I want to know, and really understand it. We need to know, like, her childhood. We see her family life, like with Marmy and everything, and we see how independent she's grown. Probably like the dad's off on the war the times too. I don't know anything more, and maybe reading too. Like, she's being more accustomed, and she's tired of all this talk about the world. She's tired of writing stories where, like, at the end the woman has to get married or dead, you know? That's kind of very first page, very first scene they talk about it. Nothing more except that I don't believe I will ever marry. I'm happy as I am, and I love my liberty too well to be in any hurry to give it up. You will care for somebody, and you will love him tremendously and live and die for him. I know you will. It's your way, and you will, and I'll watch. Teddy. That is true. I think, like with Joe, you don't have to marry. Marriage is just I don't know the history of it, but it's just like the freaking Christian concept or some shit, right? It's just like a religious concept, or maybe like a governmental concept. I don't know too much. I'm ignorant on this. So, but marriage isn't something that needs to be done, and you may never find a need to marry. So you don't have to, but you will care for somebody. I think that's something. Like, you will need to have emotional connections, because that's the kind of animal we are. We're ape, we're monkey. You have to return to monk and become monkey. Jo cries and cries. Her heart is breaking, even though she is the one who broke it. Jo is putting away Beth's things. Alright, we're heading on to the... Oh, here we go. We have two amazing scenes. This is the climax. We are here now. Boom. We are right here. Where everything's falling apart. I hope I'm not disturbing your writing. I don't do that anymore. It didn't save her. You are much too lonely here, Jo. Wouldn't you like it to go back to New York? What about your friend, Friedrich? Was that his name? I ruined our friendship with my temper, just as I ruined everything. I doubt the sincere friend would be deterred. I wish that were true. If I were a girl in the book, this would all be so easy. I'd give up the world happily. Laurie is returning, you know. He is? There was a letter from Amy. She's coming home. She was devastated about Beth, and Aunt March is very ill. But Laurie will be accompanying them on the journey home. That's good of him. Jo stands up anxiously. What is it? Perhaps I was too quick in turning him down. Do you love him? If he asked me again, I think I would say yes. Do you think he'll ask me again? But do you love him? I know that I care more to be loved. I want to be loved. That is not the same as loving. Women have minds and souls, as well as hearts, ambition and talent, as well as beauty, and I'm sick of being told that love is all a woman is fit for. But I'm so lonely. There we go. This is her needs and her wants, and everything's coming down together. You know that journey we were talking about? The whole Jo journey, where she has these wants and these needs. She knows what she wants, but now she's finally realizing that she needs the human connection. She needs companionship. She's lonely. She realizes that she's hella lonely with how she was living her life, in a way of like, cause yeah, like screw the gender norms and all of that history bull crap, right? About how like, oh, traditional roles of women and what they had to do and stuff, you know? Like, yeah, you don't have to do that. Screw all that crap, right? And then when Jo takes it a step further to where, in rejecting all of that, she ends up rejecting the emotions of it too, the emotional side, because it's not all bad. It's like about the love, about being about caring for people, about feeling love, about letting yourself be loved, about letting yourself love another person, like what Marmee is saying, right? So Jo is finally starting to learn all of that. She's understanding what she needs, and she's growing as a person through like the death of her sister, through the rejection, through Laurie leaving, Amy leaving, her failure as a writer, right? All of these things are happening. Amy, dressed in black. So now they're going out. I couldn't let you travel alone with Aunt March being so sick, even if you despise me. Oh, Laurie, I don't despise you. Beth was the best of us. I am not marrying Fred Vaughn. I heard, Amy. It was not for you, it was for myself. You were under no obligation to say anything or do anything. It was because I didn't love him as I should. Damn. Amy's like my favorite, dude. Amy's like one of my favorite characters. She's so badass. Laurie studies her face, and we know that he sees her and loves her. Yeah, I think Laurie's love for Jo is like a teenage love, but his love for Amy is a more mature love. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I'm not them, so I don't know anything, but that's just from what I'm seeing and the way I'm spinning it. I'm writing the story in my head. You don't have to say anything. We never need to talk about it. We don't have to talk about... Laurie catches her face with his hands and kisses her. Oh yeah, they kiss. Alright, so now they're back. Jo, wake up. Oh, Teddy, my Teddy. Oh, dear Jo, are you glad to see me then? Glad my blessed boy is too small. Words can't express it. Oh, here's my favorite line. How's Amy? Did she bother you all the way from Europe with her preening? Yes, but I love it. Where is she now? Did she not come straight home? Your mother's got her down at Meg's. We stopped there, by the way, and there was no getting my wife out of their clutches. Your mother's got her down at Meg's. We stopped there, by the way, and there was no getting my wife out of their clutches. This is my favorite line right here. This conveys so much. Just what? Just question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation. This shows so much, dude. It's such good writing. Use everything to your disposal, dude. Your what? Now I've done it. It was meant to be a surprise. What surprise? Well, we were engaged and we were going to wait. That is to say, now we are man and wife. Joe sits. She sits hard. Oh, she hit hard. You and Amy? It all happened very fast. Are you in love? Yes. Joe, I want to say one thing, and then we'll put it away forever. I have always loved you, but the love I feel for Amy is different. You were right. We would have killed each other. This is what I meant. The love I felt for Amy is different. I think it's, yeah, like Joe and Lori is like a friendship love, brotherly love, you know, like fun love. And then this one is like an actual true love. That's what I think. Yes, I think it was meant this way. Oh, Teddy, no one ever calls me that but you. What does Amy call you? My lord. That's like her. Well, you look deserving of it. Can we still be friends? Of course, my boy. Always. Everyone comes bursting through the door. Mother, father, Amy, John, Meg, Daisy, Demi. Lori told you? Yes. Joe has a moment wanted to strike her the way she did when they were children, but checks herself. He tries to be what Beth would want. Amy, I'm so happy for you. It was meant to be. Her anxiety. Oh, I'm so relieved. I couldn't write because I was so quickly, and then really I was worried you'd be angry. No. So you aren't angry. Life's too short to be angry at one's sisters. I really miss her. I do. She really grew up. Joe has really matured now. She's near the end of her journey. The house doesn't seem right without her, and I couldn't go in knowing she'd... Joe's alone. Dear Mr. Dashwood, enclosed are the first few chapters of a piece I've only begun working on. It could suit as a story for young people, but I think it's probably quite boring. However, I'm sending it to you just in case it has something of value. I thought she hated me. She could still hate you and leave you the house. Oh yes, and then Aunt Marge leaves her the house. And then maybe you don't see things important because people don't write about them. It's just about our little life. So, who would be interested in a story of domestic struggles and joys? It doesn't have any real importance. Maybe we don't see these things as important because people don't write about them. That is so true. There's a lot of, this is also a big part of life. You know, write what you know. Write what you know, and write what's important to you. Because if it's important to you, then it's important to other people. The more, and if something maybe is not as important as something else, then make it, right? It's just like, if it's important to you, it has to be important to other people too. Not writing. No, writing doesn't confirm importance. It reflects it. I'm not sure. Perhaps writing will make them more important. When did you become so wise? I always have been. You were just too busy noticing my faults, which weren't there, of course. Yes. They got the house. So now we're on the we're in the third act, resolution. There's things are getting better. Reads. He finishes and then writes to her. Dear Miss March, I have read the chapters you sent, and they have agreed that they aren't very promising. But please send us more stories of the scandalous variety if you have any. Reads no.
Or shall I say, your friend can. My apologies for the joke. I couldn't help it. Crumbles it up, but then Marmee breaks her reverie. Joe, calm down. You might, but I'm fan. Oh dear, you have a guest. I don't know anyone. I'm so sorry to intrude. Oh my gosh. And then we have Friedrich back to the present. I got your address from Mrs. Kirk. Yeah, everyone's like, oh my god. Oh my god. Boom, boom, boom. I think we're good here. This is just like the final bits. Dashwood girl, tell me you have the rest of the book. Oh, here we go. It doesn't matter. Put on a better dress. Follow me. So, it is also... Alright, so I think this is the part where I'll be reading the rest. Alright, so basically Fred comes back, going to California, wants Joe. Joe's like, should I go? Maybe. So we have interior New York apartment night, 1869. It is also raining in New York. Mr. Dashwood is in his cozy apartment eating dinner with his wife. He tries to start a fight. She tries, you never ask about my mother, even when you know I've seen her. I assume she's still alive, but I ask after your mother, and I have no idea why. You're willfully missing the point. That's true. He hears his daughter's laughter and talking in the next room. What have they got into? Tumble into the room, speaking over each other. Father, are you publishing this? What happens to the little women? Tell me you have the rest of the book. Close on, he realizes what he has. What this story could be. The story that he and the author both thought was boring. Meg, Amy, and Joe are all in the carriage, making top speed through the train. They arrive at the train station. Go find him. Dashwood. Frankly, I don't see why she didn't marry the neighbor. Thunder claps, and we cut to the publishing house. Jo sits where she originally sat across Dashwood, but she is more grown up, more together, more herself. Frankly, I don't see why she didn't marry the neighbor. Because the neighbor married her sister. Right, of course. So, who does she marry? No one. She doesn't marry either of them. No. That won't work at all. She says the whole book that she doesn't want to marry. Who cares? Girls want to see women marry, not consistent. It isn't the right ending. The right ending is the one that sells. Jo thinks. If you end your delightful book with your heroine a spinster, no one will buy it. It won't be worth printing. I suppose marriage has always been an economic proposition, even in fiction. It's romance. It's mercenary. Just end it that way, will ya? Fine. Boom. The present. A fiction. Everything's a mess. Just something. We're just in a story now. Jo runs from the carriage out onto the train, looking out for Friedrich. She's not there. Every face isn't his. Just then, Jo sees Friedrich also standing under an umbrella, but alone. She runs towards him. Her rising, starts to cry despite herself. Jo, why? Because you're going away. I would never leave if you wished me to stay. I wish you would stay. But I have nothing to give you but my full heart in these empty hands. They aren't empty now. Oh, so good. They kiss, one of those epic perfect kisses. The train arrives and he doesn't get on it. Bam. Alright, we're back to the negotiations. I love it. This is so romantic. Your hands aren't empty now. It makes me emotional. Thanks. We call that chapter Under the Umbrella. It's good. Perfect. Now, there is the question of the contract. I'm prepared to give you 5% of the royalties. So I get 5% of the profit. 5% of the net profits after I recoup. What about a payment up front? I'm taking a risk printing this book. Yes, but it's my book. But if it works, then we'll both make money. If not, then I won't go under. So I get nothing. If it fails, no. I'll give you $500 right now to buy out the copyright. The copyright is the right for reprinting, that sort of thing. Sequels, the characters, for other stories. Might that be worth something? Well, again, only if it's a success, I see. Seems like something I would want to own. Doesn't your family need the money more immediately? They do, which is why I'm wanting the upfront payment. I'll only pay for the copyright. An intense moment between them. The book hangs in the balance. She leans forward, resolute. You keep your $500 and I'll keep the copyright. Thank you. Also, I want 10% of the royalties. 5.5%. That is 9%, 6%. That's it. If I'm going to sell my heroin into marriage for money, I might as well get some of it. 6.6%. Done. Now, you don't need to decide about the copyright. Now, I've decided I want to own my own book. That's right, girl. Own. Have your own property. Don't sell it off to some random dude. We fade down on the scene and fade up on fiction. Ah, yes. Jo is supervising a great number of rambunctious girls and boys of all races and ages. So she's a teacher now, printing house. The books are being printed. Friedrich is a teacher as well. Jo presents her mother with the cake. Publishing house. Yeah, publishing house. Man finishes the book. And Unser hands it to Jo and gets to work on the next one. Jo turns it over in her hands, touching it almost felt like a holy object as it is her inchoate desire made manifest. I think it's inchoate. I don't know how to say that word. She jumps up and sees the future. She looks up. I thought it was going to be like those jump freeze frame things. And sees the future. Cut the black credits. Oh my gosh. We Oh man, we finished it. Oh, my wrists. Ah. God damn. That's an intense read. Why did I decide to do this? But this is the first time I did it. So it looks pretty good. Alright. I think that's all. We finished the entirety of Little Women. We skipped some stuff here and there. We started later. But it was pretty well done. I'm gonna do more of these. I like reading scripts. I like talking about scripts. I like analyzing scripts and studying scripts. And yeah, we'll get to do the next one. I'm gonna be doing a movie watch along of the movie Coda. I've already seen it and I cried and I like it, so I will watch it again. And then after that movie marathon, that movie watch along, later that week or the next week, I will do a reading of the screenplay. I found the screenplay for the movie and I will read that bad boy. I cannot wait. All right. That is all. Goodbye.